Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them, and I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for these issues. So we have concluded Walter Simonson's entire epic on Thor with Thor 382. And I actually wanted to go through about 3 or 4 issues of Tom DeFalco's run, which is how long I stuck around growing up. But I really like those issues. But I actually also still collected Thor. So I actually want to go through 383, 384, and 385. Now, 384 we'll probably go with the most detail, and 383 and 385 we're sort of just gonna skim through it. So Tom DeFalco and Ron Frenz are going to be taking over for Simonson, and this is sort of a fill-in issue. So this is a tale that occurred during Secret Wars. Okay, so we've got Ron Frenz and Brett Breeding doing the cover. And they're actually going to be the new team on Thor, although 385, I believe, is Erik Larsen. It's just very convoluted on that one. I think Erik Larsen, it was one that he had drawn a while ago. So this Secret Love. So this part takes place in the now, and we have a warrior trying to get through Lorelei. If you remember Walter Simonson's run, so they're going through a drawbridge, and so and it says here the stories occurred before Thor 377 here. So we've got our new creative team, which is actually really good. Ron Frenz changed his drawing style once he left Amazing Spider-Man and became more Kirby-like, using more Kirby poses. It was actually, I don't know, with Brett Breeding's inks, it really did look super Kirby-ish. All right, so he's trying to get to Lorelei here, and you can see all these things that are getting in the way here. And so here she is, like, oh my goodness. He's like, oh, Lorelei, I love you so much. I just give my life for you. You're the most beautiful person in the world, and blah blah blah. And she kisses him and turns him into stone. And because she's petty like that here. So all right, so the Enchantress, she laughs because she's evil and petty, and her sister is the Enchantress. She's gonna come in, and then she's going to tell her she shouldn't do that because love is very hard to come by. And you can see that these two are like, yeah, whatever, and with each other. So she's gonna tell her a story that occurred during the Secret Wars. Now, I have covered the entirety of the Secret Wars, so feel free to check that out. And here we go. So I have, like I said, I've covered Secret Wars, and this just gives you a big recap on Secret Wars. A bunch of heroes and villains were set in there by the Beyonder, and they fought each other. That's the long story short here. And so just go ahead and go into the website if you need to. But Thor gets the Enchantress, and he's like, there are things which only gods may speak and which only gods can understand. It's just funny. And so they go, and so they have chit and chat. It doesn't really matter too much what they're talking about here, but she turns these trees into living things, and you can see Thor dispatches them here. She's kind of has feelings for him, always has. Anyway, this creature comes through, and after she tries to kill Thor, he's like, Thor, I need you. And so here comes Thor, helps her out. Damsel in distress is kind of the thing here. And so they sort of continued, and the many loves and the many things and yada yada. And so she's trying to enchant him, and he, of course, is too strong to be befallen by her enchantments. And so what's going to end up happening is something that sort of we saw in Secret War. She really wants Thor, but um the villains make their strike against the heroes, and they almost kiss here. And there's that earthquake from when the oh my gosh, the Molecule Man dropped that mountain. So if you remember from the previous page, he drops a mountain. So all right, so she takes Thor to where this happened. Here come the villains, and they're like, "Is this just gonna be us, Thor against them, or are the two of them gonna join?" And of course, Enchantress is like, not gonna, because she's sort of a coward here. And so Thor's gonna fight alone, but he gets his ass kicked, and that is that goes about it. And she almost, and they believed him dead when they killed. This is a beautiful pose here by Ron Frenz. And so the attack, again, I have covered all 12 glorious issues of the Secret Wars. Feel free to check them out. And Ultron killed him, or they thought they could only find his helmet and cape. And of course, the Enchantress is pissed because they killed Thor, and Doom is like, that's what I wanted. Do you dare question the wisdom of my action? She starts to cry, and of course, no, I don't. And so he left. She feels regretful because, she loved him and could have done something. And she says, you need to do this because you're never, you need to start changing your ways because, love may never come for you. She leaves, and Lorelei ponders and then laughs. And so, that is, that's it. So that's the story here. All right, so this is the one we're going to cover mostly because the other one I'm just sort of going to fly through it again. And so this is the Once and Future Thor. And although it says the first issue of a brand new era, not really, because it all comes status quo, starting or sort of start going status quo. But I pulled this off the rack when I first saw it on, I think it was a Walgreens. They had a comic book rack, and so I pulled this from the rack, and I was like, whoa. And because of Simonson, I was really, really still into Thor, and I'm very I like this era. I don't know why I ended up not picking it up. I don't know whether I don't know. For whatever reason, I had to budget. I came from a very poor, I had a single mom, and my stepdad was a nice guy, but, it was only so much money that could be spent on comic books. So, I think I cut it because I know Simonson, during that time, I definitely picked up X-Men and stuff, and I think Simonson started doing Fantastic Four, and, lots of stuff was starting to happen. So I think I just dropped it, for whatever reason. So, we continue here. This is Jim Shooter's last issue as editor-in-chief. By the way, Jim Shooter, rest in peace. Tom DeFalco actually replaces him as editor-in-chief, but will continue writing this. So we're in the future here in 2537, and it's a bit of a future where some people live in the gutter, just basic life here. And so there is a cult of Thor here, and so this is where corporations rule the earth. Now, for some of you, let me tell you something about corporations. They have always existed. They will always exist. Corporations are nothing more than a bunch of humans getting together and running a company. That is all they are. Corporations are people at the I mean just rich people, and so that's always been the fear. But guess what, we've been there forever. The rich, this is always in the in the 1800s, in the 1900s, in the 2000s. Now that we're in 2026, this has always been. So this is a big fear for some reason, but we live in a corporate world. We have always lived in a corporate world. So I don't know, but it's something that people always write about like it's fear. Anyway, so they are, they're a cult of Thor here, and Thor's supposed to liberate them from this clutch, and get the humans. So this guy has found that the hammer is stuck in this rock here, but remember, you can only be worthy to lift the hammer of Thor. So these people can't move the hammer, so they move this instead. So everyone's gonna give it a try. Of course, this guy's like, I'm the most powerful, and so these people are praying. They're like, oh please, but he can't budget. Nobody's worthy. And so she's like, oh, I sure somebody was gonna do it. They would be the people that want to change. So all right. And so this is, of course, the CEO, the big that wants an end to that. He's the chairman here. That's his name. And so he goes to this guy who happens to be Loki. Loki's still around, and of course he also wants to get rid of them. But this time he's not gonna charge the guy. I love the screen tones being applied. I probably would have left the teeth without the screen tones here. That, I think that would have looked a little better, but that's all right. And so he offers to get rid of them at no charge. And so there's going to be another gather, and of course this guy here says, so soon. We are, no, most of the time, we have to be careful. Of course, I love Loki's horns. I am a huge fan. I love these, especially here. And he's got some of his Asgardian trolls with him here. Again, Brett Breeding is a wonderful inker. He's a big brush inker. Love his inks. And so they're going to look for this cult here. And they find some of these Thor people, and you can see this is not going to fare very well for them. And so they're going to get to the blonde guy, which of course you knew from the cover. And he's like, I need a weapon. He reaches for the hammer. I actually really love this this panel here. Ron Frenz is a solid penciler. Good stuff. How he can still not get work is beyond me. But now we're gonna get the new Thor, and very late 80s, definitely here. And he becomes Thor, and so he's gonna dispatch the evil doers. And I like the cape, kind of like it's almost like a double cape. Like this part is a cape and this part is a cape. That's actually kind of cool. The way it's separated from him in the middle. Todd McFarlane, I think during this time was already on Spider-Man. So he hits the hammer in the ground and becomes normal. And so the people are like, oh my God, he's back. We're going to be free, because they believe Thor will free them here. So now in the corporation, the production is down. And he's like, hey, you were supposed to help me. And Loki's like, everything's under control. We got this. And so at no additional cost, we're still going to give you the resources. So, all right. And these guys are gonna go march, like unionize. So very left wing, right wing type thing going on here. And so they're going to go march in the streets, but here are the evil Asgardians or trolls or whatever under Loki, and he's like, "Oh my God, they're gonna get killed. I gotta." And so, as everybody's gonna getting taken care of, this is a lovely panel as well. Nice big panel here to just show the hammer destroying this vehicle. Exaggerated um, poses here, very beautiful. And so here comes Thor to fight, and nice. I think Ron Frenz does a fantastic job, but unfortunately, we're not gonna cover. When I almost thought of going to 400 because I went back and purchased everything, but I don't know. I may just do the ones from my childhood and then sort of move on to something else. Kind of want to do Simonson's Fantastic Four. And so that's something I want to cover because I am such a mark for Walter Simonson. But I don't know yet, so I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. And so here's this guy here, Tyrus the Terrible, and we're gonna have another fight here. There's a lot of action in this issue, lots of it. He needs to get to the hammer, and he does. Like I said, very 80s, very 80s costume, and which is still better than the 90s one that Thor gets through. Um, and I may, because I also want to cover Dan Jurgens' Thor run, but I'm sort of not done with the 80s, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So, all right, so down they go, and Thor, of course, does Thor things, and so I am free. And so this guy's like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have to go bankrupt because you've done, he's destroyed us." And of course, Loki's like, what the heck? And so he's like, "We had a contract," and Loki destroys it, and he's like, "That contract's not void, mortal, as is your life." And so basically, we are given that Loki has killed the chairman. And so the people are happy because they are victorious. And so he opens a portal and sends the hammer through, like, "Go find Thor, hell, whatever." And then he turns back into it, and he hopes that Thor can save himself. He'll never know, but I hope and pray. And so now Loki's pissed. The hammer's no longer there, and he's like, "Oh my God, Thor's gonna get it," and we're gonna so Loki's leaving because he's got to go find the hammer, and so all the people are celebrating, and there we go. It's time for a new life, and thus we end this issue. So we have one more, and 385 is a this is done by Jim Shooter, who plotted this issue before he left, and Erik Larsen is the penciler here, but this is like early Erik Larsen. This is a weird looking Erik Larsen here. Vince Coletta is the ink. Okay, Stan Lee does do the script. So Jim Shooter and Stan Lee combined. This is probably one of the last things Jim Shooter did on his way out the door. You can see a lot of brush. I love me some brushes. So you can see Thor or Hulk has destroyed everything here. So this is essentially a fill-in issue. So we're just gonna kind of look at it, but of course it's a Hulk versus Thor story. So that's what we got here. So he's like, "Oh, we've done nothing to you," and like, Hulk needs no excuse. So, and I think he kills him, but it's shown off panel here. Good pose here. Very early Erik Larsen, and so stops these thieves, and very early Erik Larsen. And so here we go. Look at all this instructions. He's the Hulk. and we're gonna have a Hulk Thor fight. And yeah, so this is gonna be a very quick issue, and yeah, there's really nothing to say here. There's no exposition about anything. We don't even know when this took place. The Hulk wasn't like this during this time. He was still gray, and so we definitely just know that it's like maybe during Hulk 300 or so that this was in. And so he's like, get rid of the hammer, I'm gonna kill this girl. And so he's like, no, release her. And Hulk's like, I'm gonna smash her. So um Thor listens to him, and he's like, throw it away. And so all right, so off he goes. And so very villainous. Sometimes I'm like, why would Hulk be um heroic? Why would they have Hulk with his own comic when they treat him like he's such a villain here? So all right, so we continue here, and really, as I mentioned, there's really nothing to say. So we're just gonna look at the fight, and the Hulk, he's like, oh my god, the children, what about the children? And so they're like, he's like, surrender. Thor's like, never. And so destroy, destroy, destroy. Um, and even here comes the train, and you just, oh my god, this is just such hilariousness, such, I don't know, and Erik Larsen, I think, was doing the Punisher during this time too, and you could see that the Punisher was more now to what Erik Larsen is now than this. And so, all right, and he's like, "Oh my god, I cannot beat him." It just continues and continues, and he's like, "Why don't you give up?" He's like, "Cause I'm the son of Odin," and he's like, "Give up, give up, give up." And so he gets the hammer, and Thor and Hulk is like, whatever. He's like, I'm stronger than you, and you need a hammer to get me. He's like, I'll get you without Mjolnir. And Hulk is like, I only fight when I'm angry. The anger is gone. Hulk will crush Thor next time. And we just end with all this destruction, like, oh my god. And so that's it. That is the end. So Thor 383, 384, and 385. 3 issues in a little over 20 minutes. Hey, that is not too bad. So we will be doing then we'll be doing, at least, I can guarantee you that we'll at least be doing the up until the Eternals story, or not the Eternals, the oh my god, the big giants with the Eternals. What are the Celestials? So we'll at least be doing the Celestial story, and then we'll just kind of feel it out whether I go to 400 or not. But like and subscribe, and I do thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.